second part of the passage, which is taken from the FPSC Papers 2017. Let's start. First of all, the first rule of the Precis is to read the passage and underline the major significant parts of the passage, which are mostly noun phrases and verb phrases. Again, suppose our statesman, instead of rushing off to Versailles with a bundle of ill-digested notions and great deal of energy to dissipate, had all taken a fortnight off, away from all correspondence and interviews and whatnot, and had simply lounged about on some hillside or other, apparently doing nothing for the first time in their energetic lives. Then they might have gone to their so called peace conference and come away again with their reputations still unsoiled and the affairs of the world in good trim. This is only one sentence. Now, again, suppose our statesman. In the previous part, we have the word potentates, government officials. Now here is statesman. Instead of rushing off, the verb phrase rushing off to Versailles, the whole phrase rushing off to Versailles with a bundle of ill-digested notions. Here is ill-digested notions and great deal of energy to dissipate. Here is energy to dissipate. Had all taken a fortnight off. Here is fortnight off. Away from all correspondence, very important. Away from all correspondence and interviews and what's not, and had simply lounged about. Here is lounged about on some hillside. Okay, the whole phrase lounged about on some hillside or other, apparently doing nothing for the first time in their energetic lives. Here is doing nothing in energetic lives. Then they might have gone to their so called peace conference. Here is peace conference, but so called is also very important, and come away again with their reputations. Come away, reputations, still unsoiled, and here is the word unsoiled, and the affairs of the world in good trim. Affairs of the world is to be underlined, and in good trim as another phrase which is to be underlined. Even at the present time, if half of the politicians in Europe would relinquish the notion that laziness is crime and go away and do nothing for a little space, we should certainly gain by it. Here is the sentence. Even the present time. Here is present time. Half of the politicians in Europe, underline it, would relinquish, yes, verb phrase, relinquish, verb, the notion that laziness is crime, underline it, laziness is crime, and go away and do nothing, whole phrase. For little space, here is little space. We should certainly gain by it. Here is certainly gain. Other examples come crowding into mind. Here is crowding into mind. Example come crowding into mind. Thus, every now and then, certain religious sects hold conferences, but there are evils abroad that are mountains high. Though the fate of civilization is still doubtful, the members who attend these conferences spend their time condemning the length of ladies' skirts and the noises of dance bands. Thus, every and now, certain religious sects. Here is underline it. Certain religious sects hold conference, the whole clause. But though there are evils abroad that are mountains high, here is evils, mountains high. Though the fate of civilization, underline it, is still doubtful, underline doubtful. The members who attend these conferences, underline it, spend their time, the word spend is to be underlined, condemning the length of ladies' skirts, here is underlined, condemn the length of ladies' skirts and the noisiness of dance bands, noisiness of dance bands. They would all be better employed laying flat on their backs somewhere, staring at the sky and recovering their mental health. They would all be better employed laying flat on their backs somewhere, staring at the sky and recovering their mental health. Staring at the sky, recovering their mental health. This was the first attempt of the reading. Now we are going to read the passage second time, and this second time is the time of explanation for the students to getting the idea what the writer is going to say in this part of the passage. Now, again, suppose our statesman, instead of rushing off to Versailles with a bundle of ill-digested notions, so our statesmen in the previous section we have studied and read about emperors, kings, archdukes, statesmen, generals, journalists. So this is the continuity of all these nouns, government officials, and we have replaced all these things with the word potentates. Now our statesman, instead of rushing off, going away to travel somewhere to Versailles, this is the place in France where peace treaty was signed in 1919. A bundle of ill-digested notions. So such kind of rulers, kings, prime ministers or dictators who are always ready to fight, they have ill-digested kind of notions in their minds and great deal of energy to dissipate, and they always think of using the energy. Dissipate means to use, to spend, dissolve, evaporate, squander, consume, to consume the energy. Had all taken a fortnight off. Such devilish, brutish kind of people should be away from the government decisions. Here, away from all the correspondence and interviews. So these persons should be away from any kind of correspondence, any kind of communication, any kind of interviews, any kind of authorities of giving the job or issuing the orders and what not, and had simply lounged about. These people should reside on a resort. He should relax in a hotel. He should be luxuriate in a hotel and enjoy 14 to 15 days somewhere else, about on some hillside, mountainous side and enjoy himself this adventure rather than the adventure of world war. Now, or other apparently doing nothing for the first time in their energetic lives. So they are living a zestful life. They must relax for some time. Even this relaxation would be first time in their lives, but they must be relaxed in some kind of hotel, in some kind of hilly area. Then they might have gone to their so-called peace conference. Then after it, after having a nap, after having some rest, these person should be allowed to go or and attend the conferences like so-called peace conferences and come away again with their reputations. So they have a lot of reputations of brutality, vileness, still unsoiled. If these people take a rest of fortnight, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, their reputation will not be unsoiled, and the affairs of the world in good trim. If such kind of people like Adolf Hitler and the others who contributed in the world war, such big guns, if they would be allowed to go for rest, oh, this world would be in a good trim, good shape, good decoration, good state. Even at the present time, if half of the politicians in Europe would relinquish, reject, cease, stop, renounce the idea, renounce the notion that laziness is crime. If they give up this notion that laziness is crime, and if they go away and do nothing for a little space, for a little span of time, we should certainly gain by it. We should gain something, we should have something, we should achieve something. Now, other examples come crowding into mind. There are a lot of many examples that are relating to it. Thus, every now and then, certain religious sects hold conferences. So, nowadays, a lot of religious sects, factions, parties, they are holding a lot of meetings, conferences, but though there are evils abroad that are mountains high, they are holding a lot of meetings, but what is the result of these meetings? Oh, the evils. This is perversions, wrongs, devilish things are still mountainous at the top, at the apex of this, though the fate of civilization is still doubtful. What is the future of this civilization? Oh, it is still doubtful, undecided. The members who attend these conferences spend their time condemning the length of ladies' skirts and the noisiness of dance bands. What they are doing in these conferences? They are just condemning, they are just censuring, they are just criticizing and denouncing what? Ladies' skirts, liberalism, the liberal attitudes of the new civilization in the form of short ladies' skirts, in the form of noisy musical concerts. They always censure and criticize these musical concerts, and they would all be better employed laying flat on their backs somewhere. Now the writer is suggesting for these dogmas for these extremists, that these dogmas should laying flat, lay down on the beach and just staring at the sky and recovering their mental health. They should take a chill pill and at the night watch the stars and recover their mental health. They should be broad minded. Here is the Brassy of the second part of the passage. Now we are going to check what elements we have included in the Brassy and what are the elements that are not included in the Brassy. Is our Brassy is accomplished, perfect, or it engulfs all the elements and significant points in itself? Now we are going to read. By appraising relaxation, if half of the European premiers to be indifferent to daily official communication had taken short mountainous tour from their zestful lives and returned again with their unblotted fame to feigned peace seminars, then the world would have been in a fine shape, which is an achievement. Today, the perversions are at apex, despite of gatherings of ecclesiastical factions who only censure the modern dress and music. They should only take a chill pill. Again, suppose our statesman, instead of rushing off to Versailles with a bundle of ill digested notions, our statesman is included here is in the word, in the phrase raging European premiers. So, European premiers, here is a statesman that has a connection with the previous part of the passage, in which dukes, kings, the other monarchs, rushing off to Versailles with a bundle of ill digested notions. Here, ill digested notions is engulfed in the word raging, the furious kind of persons and the statesmen, and the great deal of energy to dissipate had all taken a fortnight off. They have the notion of energizing and exerting the energy in the form of war. So, all these statesmen must be allowed to go off for a fortnight for a recreational tour. So, this thing is engulfed in the phrase had taken short mountainous tour, away from all correspondence and interviews and whatnot. The whole clause is included in the phrase to be indifferent to official communication. Now and had simply lounged about on some hillside. This clause is included, had taken short mountainous tour, or other apparently doing nothing for the first time in their energetic lives. This meaning is included in the phrase from their zestful lives. Then they might have gone to their so called peace conferences and come away again with their reputations still unsoiled. So, all these phrases and clauses are included in the Precis and returned again with their unblotted fame. Here is unspoiled, here is unblotted fame. To feed peace seminars, here is so called peace conference. So, this meaning is included in the phrase fiend peace seminars, and the affairs of the world in good trim. The meaning of this clause is included in, then the word would have been in a fine shape. So, the whole sentence, which consists of 4 or 5 lines, are engulfed in the Precis, in the first sentence from beginning to, then the word would have been in a fine shape, which is an achievement. Here is an achievement. Even at the present time, if half of the politicians in Europe would relinquish the notion, here is half of the European politicians. This is engulfed in the opening line of the Precis. If half of the raging European premiers, the notion that laziness is crime and go away, sent to do nothing for a little space. So, go away and do nothing for a little space. This clause is included in the Brassy phrase had taken short mountainous tour from their zestful lives. We should certainly gain by it. The meaning of this clause is included. The word would have been in a fine shape, which is an achievement. Here is which is an achievement is engulfing the meaning of the phrase we should certainly gain by it. Other example come crowding into mind. Thus, every now and then, certain religious sects hold conferences. But though there are evils abroad that are mountains high, though the fate of civilization is still doubtful. Here is present time is today. The perversions, all the evils. There are evils abroad. Perversions are at epics. The meaning of religious sects hold conferences is engulfed in the phrase despite of gatherings of ecclesiastical factions. Religious sects are replaced by the words ecclesiastical factions. The members who attend these conferences spend their time condemning the length of ladies' skirts and the noisiness of dance bands. All the meanings of these two clauses are included in who only censure the modern dress and music. They would all be better employed lying flat on their backs somewhere, staring at the sky and recovering their mental health. The meaning of the whole sentence is included in the last sentence. They should only take a chill pill. All the significant and important points of the passage are included in the Brassy. Minor one or two elements are left behind that are not quite compulsory and important, because we have to keep in mind the length, the words of the Brassy. Here students, that was the Brassy of the FPSC paper 2017.